Hi everybody, good evening. Welcome to the session. I'm Ramesh Singh, joining you from New Delhi. Hope I am audible and visible clearly to you. Let's begin today's session. Uh, the session of today is naturally connected with economic survey, and since across the year you might have seen in media there were news items. The Indian currency, that is INR rupee, needs to be internationalized. In wake of that, you find a small piece of coverage given in the recently released Economic Survey 2022-2023. This session tries to include a coverage of economic survey. Together with that, the peripheral issues related to internationalization of our currency in today's time. So, the title of discussion is Rupee Settlement of Trade. What exactly it means is a trade which India does with any country in the world. We should try to settle them in our own currency, that is rupee. Normally, the trade we do, we are supposed to pay for the trade and the import in one of the hard currencies. You know what are the hard currencies? They are American dollar, sterling pound, Japanese yen, euro, and the Chinese currency yuan. But most of the countries, better say 100% of the countries with whom we have trade, when we import something from them, they ask for one currency, that is US dollars. So Government of India has been trying to internationalize India's currency, that is rupee, for the last few years, precisely speaking, right since 2017-18, according to the economic survey of the year. So right now, what is the situation? Whether India is able to settle some of its international trade in its own currency, and what other countries are wishing from India. Before I begin the session, this is first time I am informing my students, my readers of my book Indian Economy, that the new edition of my book Indian Economy, that is available in Hindi also and Marathi also, is supposed to be available by third week of April 2023, like every year. So this year also you can expect the book available in market by 23rd to 24th April 2023. Work is going on full scale. I am sharing with you the cover of the upcoming edition, 15th edition, 2023-2024. Clear? So the book will be useful for the examinations of civil services and other exams which is going to take place in 2023 and 2024, April 2024. Clear? So I receive several mails on daily basis कि sir, when you book is coming in its new edition. I know several students and readers depend on my book, so my task has increased by many times since the book became bestseller. And you know very well that today, best of the teachers teaching Indian economy not only in civil service examination, coaching in centers, but as well as IIMs, IITs, they refer this book because this book is quite relevant, quite contemporary, really revised, really undercoat, because revised editions of other books are just written as revised. This is really revised. And you might not be knowing for the last several days, the day on which survey was released and budget was released, I am working on the book since 4 a.m. in night, early morning, till 10 p.m. night because I am an early riser and I go to bed a bit early. Even then, I have to adjust my classes of GS economy and work on the book Indian economy, upcoming edition. So I have to take extra pain. Anyway, since expectations of students are very high and readers are very high, you might not be knowing, I get such mails. Sir, I am reading your book, but I did not get anything on this item. I did not get anything on that item. Such mails I get on regular basis. Now the problem is that I simply reply them. This book is not supposed to be an encyclopedia on Indian economy because I am asked to write an encyclopedia on Indian economy. I would need minimum 6 volumes of more than 700 pages. Will you be interested to buy the volumes and read them? Naturally not. So what I do, I cover in every upcoming new edition as much I feel are important for upcoming New Year's PT and main exam as well as interview and essay papers. Clear? For rest of all, I advise you to refer other books which cover university syllabus. This book is not created to cover syllabus of university or IIM or IITs. You must be knowing if you search on YouTube, so there are dozens of teachers who are teaching my book. Surprisingly, I remain surprised to what they might be teaching because to teach economics and to teach a book, you need to first understand economics. How many understand? I am not clear. And how many of them are able to understand my book and me? I am totally surprised. But still, thousands of subscribers are there on their course, and thousands of people watch their classes on daily basis. Naturally, they are simply reading my book. I simply tell you, if you want to read my book, just read it. Why you need help of a teacher? The problem is this. They make PDF and PPT of my books chapters page by page and they teach that. Soon McGraw-Hill will file a lawsuit against all of them. This is violation of copyright. They can't copy and paste any single line from my book. Okay? So those of the teachers who are listening me, I simply convey them. Be ready to face a lawsuit in courts of India because this is a case of copyright violation. You can't copy a single line of the book Indian Economy authored by me. Okay? So anyway, this is to the extent new edition of my book is concerned. Now come to today's topic. Actually, what I try to do in this YouTube session. Actually, this YouTube session tries to do exactly same thing which I have been doing through my book. You know, buck for the people who don't understand Hindi. Buck is a Hindu term. Buck is a term which I use to clear this understanding. Doing everything which is not required for civil services examination. This is what you know by buck. What teachers do normally across the country. I don't take the name. In the name of guiding students, they do too much buck, from where no questions comes in PT, mains, essay or interview. Essay is part of your main exam. I know it very well. Okay. What I have done in my book, I have covered as much is essentially required. I never say read my book, everything will come from the smoke from my book. That is not possible to claim. At least, but what I claim ki at least this much you must read for civil services exams conducted by UPSC as well as a state civil services public service commission. Clear? But after this, you must be in touch with the current affairs. I mean current economy. Clear? Exactly same thing which I have done in my book and try to do every year. I try to do in my YouTube sessions also. Okay? And if you don't find the session useful, you can give me your feedback because I cannot pass time. I cannot crack jokes. I can't basically present item number in YouTube sessions, which most of the teachers present today on YouTube. I want to deal with as much is required for civil services to the point in as little time as it is possible. I hope you agree with me. If you don't agree, give PT, clear PT or fail PT. Write means, clear means or fail means. Take interview, clear interview or fail interview. You will ultimately come to understand it was Ramesh Singh which was doing justice through his book and his YouTube session. Rest depends on you. Okay? Because today item numbers are very popular, right from Bollywood industry to Hollywood to Tollywood to everywood. That has become very popular in case of civil services examination preparations also. Soon you will see if for general studies, some institutes might be offering free courses. Okay, God knows where from they get payment, but this is very much possible. Wait for that time. If you want to take coachings of these, yes, general studies free of cost. Wait for that time. Don't worry. Anyway, in the meantime, I welcome Sajal Bhatia, Aditya Singh, and Rahul Kumar Ranjan to the session. Thank you very much for joining the session. Now, coming to our session of today, first try to understand what this session is all about. This session is all about whatever whatever international trade India does, let us pay for them in our currency, that is rupee. Why it is being written as international trade? Because trades can be of two categories. They can be internal and they can be internal. The traders which you see inside India, wholesalers and retailers, they are dealing with internal trade. And those who export and import, they are dealing with international trade. Clear? So session is on. If the export and imports India does, the exports and imports India does, let us pay them in our own currency. Clear? So this is the subject matter of today's class, rightly covered by the latest volume of Economic Survey 2022-2023. Let's say if we import something from other countries, so we are free to make payments in American dollar, European Union's euro, sterling pound, Japanese yen, and Chinese yuan, the official five hard currencies of today's times. But the law of the IMF is that any country might ask payment in American dollar, you will have to oblige them. Most of the countries ask payments in American dollar. Clear? Now the problem is that the American dollar which is being asked through us, you make your payments of imports in American dollar. You need to mobilize American dollar. It always remains in scarcity. Clear? So when inflows of dollars go down in case of India, so we face an scarcity of American dollar in case of India. It becomes really difficult to make payments for American dollars in American dollars to our trade partners for our imports. What has been seen in recent time? Just see what I am writing. I am writing aggressive hiking of policy rates. You might be knowing repo rate of India. In place of repo rate, America sets basically the repo rate that is known as Fed rate. This is repo rate of America, the rate at which banks and other agencies borrow from India's monetary market or money market for their working capital requirement. What we have seen, aggressive increases in policy rates, that is Fed rate, and hawkish monetary policy stance of US Federal Reserve Board have pushed the US dollar to multi-decade high. It ski American dollar in recent times became very costly in many decades. Due to that, a scarcity of dollar was felt in India's foreign exchange market, and ultimately rupee started depreciating in a big way. In 2022 only, Indian currency rupee has depreciated by 10.8% according to latest volume of economic survey. 2002 here stands for calendar year from January 2022 to December 2022. In the meanwhile, American dollar appreciated by 6.4%. It means while American dollar was appreciating, gaining value, rupee was losing value. So you can calculate yourself the net impact on rupee's currency. Not only this, not only our currency depreciated, but currencies of emerging market economies also depreciated on the similar scales. It had a negative impact of India's foreign exchange market. We saw volatility in forex market as well as scarcity of US currency in the coffers of forex and reserve of RBI. In this backdrop, the idea of using rupees currency to settle international trade came up. Now, take a recap. The imports we do, we ordinarily pay for them in American dollars. When American dollars are inflowing to India comfortably, we find it comfortable to make payments for our imports. But when there is a scarcity of inflow in India, which occurred throughout 2022 calendar year, we face difficulty in making payments for our imports. How beautiful it will be! The imports we do, the imports we do, we are paying for them. We are paying them in our currency, that is rupee. It will be quite beautiful. Why it is so? Because if you are facing a scarcity of American dollar, you can't print them. It is not legally allowed. You can't print even fake. That will become illegal. But if we need rupee currency, our government has sovereign power to print it as much it wishes to print. And you know, for one particular item, that is crude oil and our energy requirements, how we are dependent on imports. Around 80% of our energy requirements are fulfilled with imports. So for our kind of country, it becomes really difficult to make payment for its immediate imports in American dollar. When American Central Bank, that is Federal Reserve Board, cuts interest rate, dollar becomes easily available in America and we see easy inflow of dollar to India. But when they tighten nut bolts, I mean when they tighten Fed rate, their repo rate, dollar becomes costlier in America. So we see lesser inflows of American dollar in our economy in the form of either direct investment or indirect investment. Not only that, because due to tightening of interest rate, America itself starts giving better opportunities of investment. So some of the American investors who have invested in India, they start withdrawing from India's market and they start exiting Indian economy. That creates another problem for India because the people who have invested in our security market, that is foreign portfolio investment, they start exiting. It creates dual problem for RBI to manage the availability of foreign exchange reserve in case of India. I simply conclude when American dollar started appreciating, rupee started depreciating, we faced a scarcity of American dollar, which created problem for us to make payments for our import bills. In wake of this, an idea cropped up how beautiful it will be to make payment for our imports in our own currency, that is rupee. This is the conclusion of this page of the PPT. Anybody having any doubt, you can tell me. Actually, there are some queries here which I can see. Let me clear those queries, then I will move on. First query is coming from Aditya. He is asking, you are launching your new book in third week of April. How can we use it for prelims as it will be just round the corner by then? You will get around 1 month, Aditya, to refer the book. You can refer the book. If you have read my older decisions, it will take you hardly 10 days to cover the whole book. In most of the chapters, you will see changes, theoretical changes, and factual changes. Another question by Aditya, if someone joins your course that would start in March, is required to refer to book. He won't be required to refer the book. But what happens? You think basically in written form to face your main exam. For that purpose, you will need help of the next edition of book. Devanshu Raghuvanshi is asking a doubt कि what is difference between trade and commerce? We have Ministry for Commerce but not trade. So is there any difference? Look, Devanshu, actually our ministry is today Ministry for Internal Trade and Commerce. What exactly it means? We all sales and purchases of goods and services which take place in India or which take place anywhere in the world, they come under commerce. But inside that, there are two segments. One of the commerce activities take place inside India, which we call internal trade, and one of the segments which take place with other countries, that is known as external commerce. So when we deal with commerce in case of India, we mean internal trade and external trade. The topic which we are dealing today with, it is related to Ministry of Commerce and Industry, internal trade over there. So the subject matter deals with commerce, but not related to domestic commerce. It deals with external commerce. Is it clear to you? Sajal, are you there? Have you got to ask something? You are free to ask something. Did you get my point, Devanshu? Now let's move. The one line conclusion of this page of PPT. India has to import. We make payments of our import bills generally in one currency, that is American dollar. When American dollar is available to us, it looks no problem to make payments in American dollar. But once American dollar starts getting scarce, we face difficulty. Clear? Because we have no control on inflows and outflows of American dollar. What was seen in recent time? The interest rate increased in America due to higher inflation in America, created a kind of scarcity of American dollar to us. And we started facing difficulty in making payments for our imports bills in American dollar. At this time, an idea emerged. Why not to make payments for our imports in our own currency, that is rupee. And this is when it came in point, settling international trade in our currency rupees. Now, if the country from where you are importing something, suppose for example Russia, from where we are importing huge amount of crude oil in today's times, particularly after Ukraine-Russia conflict. How you can do that? Let us try to understand that. My next page of PPT. My next page of PPT is if India wants to make payments of its imports in its own currency, that is rupee, how to do that? If a country wants to make payments of its imports in its own currency, then a established method is you can use Nostro and Vostro accounts. Now see, Vostro account is basically account of foreigners. It is known in Latin as yours account. Yours account with us in rupees. And Nostro stands for our account. Our account with you in your currency. Suppose in case of India and Russia, it will be ruble. Okay. So Nostro and Vostro accounts are two kinds of bank accounts which are used to settle international trade in the terms of domestic currencies. Take a reference of Vostro accounts. So at present, Vostro account of Indian importers and Russian exporters have been opened in Russia and India. So suppose one Indian company wants to import something from Russia. So that particular Russian company will nominate a bank of Russia, which will open a bank account in India with one of the banks working in India. That will be called Vostro account. মানে Vostro account is a bank account of Russian exporters to India, which is managed by Indian bank in India's currency, that is rupee. Vice versa, if one Indian company is exporting something to Russia, so they will be having a Nostro account in Russia with one of the banks of Russia, which will be maintained in ruble currency, that is local currency of Russia. Suppose Indian company is importing crude oil from Russia. Suppose it is Oil India Corporation. So they will import crude oil from Russia and they will make payments through the Vostro accounts of that particular company of Russia, which has exported crude oil to Oil India Corporation in rupee. Clear? And you don't need to make payments in American dollar either or any other hard currency. Ruble is still not among the five hard currencies officially declared by International Monetary Fund. So when India put forth this proposal, so Russia accepted this. But besides Russia, there are presently 30 other countries in the pipeline which are negotiating with India. Let us use our own currency for international trade with India. Let's see how many of them are able to do this in future. We need to wait for the new items coming from government of India in future. Okay? It means whatever imports we do from Russia, we are not bound by making payments for them in American dollar. We are free to make payments in our own currency, that is rupee. Next time, when Russia needs to import something from India, they will be able to use the same rupee currency to make payments for exports from India. Clear? If as much rupee is not available with Russians, so Russia can opt for their Nostro account. They will make payments in their currency, that is ruble, which we will use to make payments for our future imports from Russia. It means that this way, India and Russia will be able to make payments for their bilateral trade in rupee and ruble. No dependence on American dollar. Is it clear to you? I hope it is clear. Yes, Rahul. It is about strengthening rupees, not strengthening. It is, you can say technically, indirectly, if you are allowed to use your currency to settle import bills, you will have lower requirements of American dollar. Due to that, your rupee will depreciate a bit lesser. Can an individual also open Vostro and Nostro accounts, or are these accounts for organizations only? Till now, Devanshu, these accounts are open for only companies which are regulated by Companies Act of the country. But maybe in future, you are thinking in very futuristic way. In future, such arrangements can be made for individual importers and exporters also. Clear? It is very much possible. But right now, we are busy to take care of our organized trade. Because when you say of individual, you mean unorganized trade. Clear? This is the case. I hope you got the point, Devans. Clear? Suppose it is possible, which is already possible in case of India and Russia. India and Russia has already got such Vostro and Nostro accounts open. Clear? It will lessen India's, together with trade partners, dependence on American dollar. I hope you got the point. It will help the Indian currency rupee get internationalized. What do you mean by internationalization of a currency? In very layman terms, internationalization of a currency simply means that the currency is being used by many countries in the world to settle their international transactions. International transactions are of many kinds. It means that the international payments which we do are of many kinds. One of it is export and import. Another is interest payment. And another is offering grants. Yet another is giving loans. Yet another is borrowing. Yet another is private remittances. Okay? It means that international transactions include all sort of international payments which we do. If Indian currency is popularly used by other countries to make payments of their foreign bills, it will help India internationalize its currency. But internationalization of a currency is not so easy. You need to fulfill certain official criteria put in place by International Monetary Fund. Okay? Now try to understand how how a currency how currency gets internationalized. Internationalized. Let us try to understand this. My next slide is on this. How the INR can become an international currency. You might have seen in media many times in recent time. Indian currency needs to be internationalized. What media exactly is trying to say? Now see the story. Your currency cannot become internationalized or an international currency because Russia is accepting payments of its exports in rupee. No, the story is that 4% of global foreign currency turnover, foreign currency turnover, turnover, মানে total payments, turnover should take place, should take place, should take place in rupee. Only then your currency will be getting internationalized. This is one of the criteria. There are many criteria which you need to fulfill once IMF declares a rupee has become an international currency. One of the eligibility criteria is that all foreign exchange payments, all payments across the world in last 3 years, which had been made by various countries, If minimum 4% of it has been done in rupee, one criteria India has been able to fulfill. According to Bank of International Settlement that is based in Basel, according to its triennial Central Bank's report 2022, quoted by Economic Survey 2022-2024, 2022-2024. According to Bank of International Settlement Basel, its triennial central bank report of transactions 2022, around 88% of global payments, global payments were settled in one currency, that is US dollar. Our share was just 1.6%. We need to reach 4%. One criteria India will be able to fulfill. Not only this, there are other criteria also. For example, rupee should be fully convertible in capital account, which is still not. Today, rupee is fully convertible in current account, but it is partially convertible in current capital account. It means that right now rupee is fully convertible in current account and partially convertible in capital account. That is another criteria. Then there are many other criteria which an economy needs to fulfill before its currency is declared as an international currency. According to economic survey which has been released recently, our one target is to let whole world use minimum 4% of their foreign payments in our currency, that is rupee. Experts believe if as many countries which are presently interested to deal with India in rupee currency, they are around 30 in numbers. If they begin their Nostro and Vastro accounts with India, the India will be naturally able to cross 4% mark. Then India will be faced with another hurdles, for example, making rupee fully convertible in capital account. Clear? So any doubt on this? Yes, Devanshu, you are thinking in the right direction. India has already taken initiative and it is believed that within 1 year, around 50 countries of world will be coming along India to settle their international payments in domestic currencies. And we have no inhibitions. We are open because it will lessen our dependence on American dollar and a kind of hegemony which American dollar has created on the world right since 1944-45 when IMF World Bank came into being, that will get diluted. And this is right time which India is hitting on the issue. Sajal is asking, as more and more trade happens in INR, I think RBI will become more independent in framing monetary policy. You are more than 100% correct, Sajal. Because what is happening in today's time? We try to follow our monetary policy, and monetary policy is connected to exchange rate of rupee also. As American central banks changes interest rate, our rupees exchange rate gets drilled. To put our exchange rate on the right path and on the right track, we need to interfere with our monetary policy. So our aims of monetary policy gets derailed so often. So in a sense, not only India, most of the countries which you name today as emerging market economies, they are facing difficulty in putting in place the monetary policy which their economy requires. And they have to intervene many times in a year to change their monetary policy goals that includes growth rate also in wake of the movements taking place in America done by Central Bank of America. So if India is able to use its own currency to settle the trade payments in its own currency, rupee, it will naturally give more independence to Reserve Bank of India in putting in place the right kind of monetary policy or the desired kind of monetary policy which is required by the recently announced union budget. You are 100% correct. Clear? I hope I am able to make my points clear. If you have got any doubts, any questions, please ask me. I am there to answer your queries. I am not seeing any other query in the chat box. So let me wind up the discussion. What was the topic on which this discussion was planned? This discussion was planned on the topic I give you a simple recap. Okay, a simple recap. India imports, we make payments of import normally in American dollar, which is very problematic because we need to mobilize American dollar to make payments for our American dollar. How beautiful it will be if we import also and if make payments in our own currency that is Indian rupee. And for that, we began the process with one item, trade. But we make many payments of international kind. We service our loans also. We make payments of private remittances also. We offer grants also. Okay. So we began with only trade for India, especially it was import. But we are open to exports also. Let us make payments for our imports in rupees. And if somebody wants to import from us, that is export for us, let us expect payment in rupee or in their currency. This is what we mean by settling international trade in our currency rupee. Clear? It will lessen India's dependence on foreign currencies, particularly American dollar, which is too volatile in foreign exchange market. Experts believe that this is an opportunity which has come in wake of higher inflation in America. Due to that, American central bank is increasing interest rate repeatedly. It has increased interest rate in 2022 by 5.25%, never done in past since Second World War. Clear? Due to that, inflows of dollar decreased in India and many other developing countries. It is very difficult to mobilize American dollar and make payments for your imports. It is an opportune moment furthered by the Russia-Ukraine crisis. So this is the right time when India should strike, and India has rightly striked and already began its payments in rupee currency with Russia for its import from Russia of the crude oil. Clear? Yes, Sajan. Imported inflation occurs due to several reasons, but one reason is our trade also because we need American dollar. So if American dollar has become costly in US, it will become costlier for you also. And finally, ultimately, your imports will become costlier. So what I told you that if we have lesser dependence on American dollar, so our rupee will feel more protected from American dollar point of view. You are correct. Okay. So it will help it. So this is what exactly settling our trade in rupee currency stands for. But this is an opportunity through which we can help our currency rupee get internationalized. When currency is internationalized, it means that other than India, many other countries are using our currency to settle their international payments. But in international transactions, rupees share will increase, which is right now 1.6%. We expect it should at least cross the barrier of 4% of total foreign exchange turnover of the world in a particular year. I hope the session helped you. If you want to give me some suggestion, if you have some query, you can write your query on my email ID rmsh at the rate of gmail.com, and be careful about the people who are simply managing huge crowds as viewers and just passing time. There are many names in India today. I don't take any name. In the meanwhile, I just for reference inform you, I run a course also on GS economy, which covers general studies, economy, PT, main, including essay and interview. A fresh offline course is beginning on March 13. Very few seats are left. The course is available in online mode also, which anybody can join. For that, you need to download the app. Details are given here. You can click the URL and reach your desired destination. Thank you very much.